My name is Terry Polanski. I am a member of Citizens Climate Lobby, an international group whose present goal is putting a price on carbon with a fee and dividend. I'm a facilitator for Tucson Climate Action Network, whose members include the Sierra Club, Sustainable Tucson, 350.org, Physicians for Social Responsibility, the Bus Riders Union, and all people concerned about climate change. I support the EPA's original BART proposal to significantly reduce nitrous oxide pollution from the Navajo Generating Station. The Navajo Generating Station emits mercury and tens of thousands of pounds a year of acid gases like hydrochloric acid and hydrogen fluoride. While stock values of the two largest coal mining companies in the U.S., Peabody and Ariz, have dropped perhaps as much as 75%. In the same period of time, the price of solar panels has dropped down 60%, and utilities are buying wind cheaper than coal or natural gas. And please don't talk to me about base load. Arizona has a paltry 6% solar energy. The only place in the Western Hemisphere that has more sun than we do is Aruba. I was there. It never rains in Aruba. But Arizona could easily get up to 26% solar without hurting base load. And as far as the 1,000 jobs that would be lost on the Navajo Reservation, the 13,000 acres of already reclaimed mine land and the 25,000 acres of land scheduled for reclamation will be able to generate over 6,000 megawatts of solar power, creating over 2,800 operational jobs and 30,000 temporary construction-related jobs. I am tired of mealy-mouthed, lame excuses for delaying the actions needed to save our children's future for a livable planet. It is time to stop using our earth, its water, its air, its soil as a toilet. Thank you.
So is that whenever you're ready, please feel free to begin.
The federal government has a long-established special relationship with Native Americans, characterized by their status as governmentally independent entities, dependent on the U.S. for support and protection. In exchange for land and in compensation for forced removal from their original homelands, the federal government promised through laws, treaties, such as the Treaty of 1868 between the U.S. and the Navajo, and pledges, such as executive orders throughout the decades and centuries, to support and protect Native Americans. However, funding for programs associated with those promises has fallen short, and Native peoples continue to suffer the consequences of a discriminatory history. Federal efforts to raise Native American living conditions to the standards of others have long been in motion. But Native Americans still suffer higher rates of poverty, poor educational achievement, substandard housing, and high rates of diseases and illnesses. Over the last 10 years, and this 10-year period incorporates 1993 to 2003, federal funding for Native American programs has increased significantly. However, this has not been nearly enough to compensate for a decline in spending power, which has been evident for decades before that, nor to overcome the long, sad history of neglect and discrimination. Thus, there persists a large deficit in funding Native American programs that needs to be paid to eliminate the backlog of unmet Native American needs, an essential predicate to raising the standards of living to that of other Americans. A quote from the United States Commission on Civil Rights, a report that was submitted to the White House in July of 2003, commissioned by President Bill Clinton and submitted to President George W. Bush. Unfortunately, by the time it was submitted, we were already engaged in the wars overseas. And the surplus that we were hoping that would address the unmet need issue was going to be spent on our wars. I raise this as context for my points, and I will conclude by making my supporting statement for the Twig proposal. The Navajo Nation government was initially created by the federal government so that there was an entity to enter into agreements for natural resources extractions. The compromise that created the Navajo Generating Station was a compromise that involved the Sierra Club. It was initially a 75-year deal. And the U.S. EPA, also created by the federal government, was ill-equipped for its first 15 years of existence to work with Native governments such as the Navajo Nation. The Twig opportunity, however, Navajo Nation was at the table, fully engaged, talking to people that maybe had never heard some of the background between the Navajo Nation and the federal government, and an opportunity to talk face-to-face with people from very divergent opinions, something that lacks oftentimes within the federal agency bureaucracy structure in decision-making. So I support and have worked with my colleagues on the Twig, and I urge that it be given its due consideration and reflect as the final decision in this rulemaking matter. Thank you very much.